Aim. An aim is a goal someone wants to make happen.
My aim is to become a helicopter pilot.
Attach. To attach is to put two things together.
I attached the socks to the clothesline to dry.
Bet. To bet is to risk money on the result of a game or a business.
How much will you bet that your horse will win?
Carriage. A carriage is a vehicle pulled by a horse.
We took a carriage ride in the park.
Classic. If something is classic, it is typical.
The athlete made a classic mistake. He started running too soon.
Commute. To commute is to travel a long distance to get to work.
I usually commute to work on the train.
Confirm. To confirm is to make sure something is correct.
Winning the game confirmed that James was a good player.
Criticize. To criticize is to say you do not like someone or something.
He criticized his wife for spending too much money.
Differ. To differ is to not be the same as another person or thing.
I differ from my brother. He is short, while I am tall.
Expense. An expense is the money that people spend on something.
She wrote down all the expenses for her trip.
Formal. If something is formal, it is done in an official way.
It was a formal dinner, so we wore our best clothes.
Height. Height is how tall someone or something is.
My height is 168 centimeters.
Invent. To invent something is to create something that never existed before.
My grandfather has invented some interesting things.
Junior. If someone is junior in their job, they do not have a lot of power.
When she started at the company, she was only a junior manager.
Labor. Labor is the act of doing or making something.
Building the house took a lot of labor.
Mechanic. A mechanic is someone who fixes vehicles or machines.
We took the car to the mechanic to be fixed.
Prime. If something is prime, it is the most important one.
Dirty air is a prime cause of illness.
Shift. To shift to something is to move into a new place or direction.
He shifted to the other side of the table to eat his breakfast.
Signal. A signal is a sound or action that tells someone to do something.
The coach blew his whistle as a signal to begin the game.
Sincere. When people are sincere, they tell the truth.
He sounded sincere when he apologized to me. Henry Ford's famous car. My name is Henry Ford, and I invented a car called the Model T. I used to watch carriages on the streets. They fascinated me. Then I got a job as a junior mechanic. My father criticized me. He wanted me to run the farm, but I did not shift my plans. Then I worked for the Detroit Auto Company, but I wanted to make cars using less labor. That way there would be fewer expenses. I started the Ford Motor Company in 1903. At first, the company did not do well, but many people were betting on my success. I also had a sincere aim to make a car that anybody could buy. Then, in 1908, I introduced the Model T in a formal ceremony. It confirmed that I was right. It was possible to build a car my way. The Model T differed from other vehicles. Workers could attach different parts for cars or trucks. This saved time. One Model T could be put together in 93 minutes. All of them had the same classic design. They were all the same size and height. The prime reason for doing this was to save money. Over 19 years, I sold over 15 million Model Ts. This sent a signal to other companies. People would buy cars to commute to work if the price was low enough.
Adopt. To adopt someone is to make them as part of one's own family.
The girl was adopted by the couple when she was 3.
Beg. To beg is to ask for something one really wants.
The man begged for some money.
Beyond. If A is beyond B, A is farther away.
John's house is beyond that lake.
Costume. A costume is a set of clothes people wear for a particular occasion.
The woman wore a mask with her costume.
Exclaim. To exclaim is to say something loudly, usually due to being excited.
Look at her dress, Sarah exclaimed.
Extend. To extend is to stretch out or reach.
The boy extended his hand to catch the ball.
Fool. A fool is someone who makes unwise choices.
The girl was a fool for playing too close to the water.
Forbid. To forbid is to tell someone they cannot do something.
My father forbids watching TV while we're eating dinner.
Illustrate. To illustrate is to show something by drawing a picture.
The executive illustrated the decreasing profits of the company.
Indeed. Indeed means truly or really.
The birthday party was indeed fun last night.
Interpret. To interpret is to explain what something means.
The woman interpreted what her coworker was trying to say.
Kindly. If people do something kindly, they do it in a nice way.
The stranger kindly cared for the hurt man.
Motive. A motive is the reason someone does something.
His motive for studying so hard is to get into a good college.
Nest. A nest is a place where a bird lays its eggs.
The bird laid her eggs in the nest that she made.
Origin. The origin of someone or something is where they come from.
The origin of the honey that we eat is from a beehive.
Reception. A reception is a party to welcome a person or celebrate an event.
We all danced and had a good time at the wedding reception.
Reject. To reject is to refuse something because you do not want it.
The girl rejected the broken cup.
Silence. Silence is complete quiet.
The man asked for silence while he worked on the problem.
Stream. A stream is a small river.
The boy caught a fish in the stream.
Tone. Tone is the sound of someone's voice. It shows how they feel.
My father's tone told me I had broken the rule. Mrs. May and the Green Girl. One morning, people from a small town found a little girl by a stream. She seemed to be wearing a green costume. As the people got closer, they saw that the girl's skin was green. "Oh my!" the people exclaimed. "What if her motive for coming to our town is bad? What if she has a strange origin?" An old woman kindly went to her. "Look how scared she is. Please," she begged, "do not reject her. I will adopt her." There was silence until the judge spoke. "I don't know," he said in a worried tone, "but we cannot forbid you. I indeed hope you're not being a fool." Mrs. May extended her hand to the girl. "Come with me. I won't hurt you." The girl spoke a language Mrs. May didn't know, but she was able to interpret what the girl was trying to say. Sometimes the girl drew pictures to illustrate what she meant. The green girl was from a place far beyond the sun. There, people lived in nests built in trees. They only ate green leaves, which made their skin green. "Well, you can't just eat leaves," Mrs. May said. She fed the green girl home-cooked meals, and soon the girl wasn't green anymore. The people had a huge reception to welcome her as a citizen of the town.
Chamber. A chamber is an old word for a bedroom.
The girl was tired. She went to her chamber for a nap.
Deny. To deny something is to say it is not true.
The boy denied that he broke the window.
Document. A document is an official piece of writing.
He was given an official document proving he was a citizen.
Emphasize. To emphasize is to give importance or attention to something.
She emphasized the key points by circling them in red ink.
Fever. A fever is a high body temperature that people get when they are sick.
Lydia had a high fever, so she didn't go to school.
Flu. The flu is a type of sickness that makes you feel weak or your body hurt.
Since he had the flu, he felt miserable.
Freeze. To freeze is to become very cold.
If you don't wear your coat in winter, you will freeze.
Gesture. A gesture is a movement of the hands or body.
My teacher makes a lot of gestures when she speaks.
Interrupt. To interrupt is to briefly stop someone when they are doing something.
My mother interrupted me when I was trying to listen to music.
Last. To last is to continue or go on for an amount of time.
The football match lasted for nearly 2 hours.
Likeness. Likeness means the state of being like or resemblance.
Michelle bears a strong likeness to her older sister Kate.
Moreover. Moreover means besides or in addition to something.
It's cold outside. Moreover, the wind is very strong.
Perspective. A perspective is the way you think about something.
The man's speech gave me a new perspective on our country.
Rational. When something is rational, it is normal or practical.
It is hard to think in a rational way when you are scared.
Recover. To recover is to go back to normal after something bad happens.
I hope the city will recover soon after the flood.
Rely. To rely on something or someone is to trust or depend on them.
The boy relied on his older brother to help him.
Shock. To shock people is to surprise them.
The man was shocked by the news.
Shy. When people are shy, they are nervous around people strange to them.
The girl was too shy to try out for the play.
Stare. To stare at something is to look at it for a long time.
The young couple stared into each other's eyes.
Thus. Thus means as a result or for that reason.
The sun was shining. Thus I wore my sunglasses.
Prince Sam. Sam's mother cooked at the royal palace. One day, he went to work with her. She emphasized that he should stay in the kitchen. But Sam was bored. Thus, he decided to look around. He went around a corner. It shocked him to see a boy who had a strong likeness to him. Sam soon recovered. The other boy stared at him. Then he spoke. Come with me. He needed to be rational, but he couldn't deny that he wanted to go. So he followed the boy to a chamber. I am Prince Bertram, the boy said. Sam felt shy talking to a prince. I'm Sam. Trade places with me, the prince said. We can't. My mother will kill me. Moreover, I don't know anything about being a prince. No one will find out, the prince interrupted. We look the same, and even our gestures are the same. It will only last for a week. Sam said okay. Soon, Sam's perspective on being a prince changed. He spent most of his day signing royal documents. At night, the prince's chamber was cold. He thought he was going to freeze or get sick with a fever or the flu. He was happy when the week ended. So was the prince. I didn't know how to do anything, the prince said. I've always relied on my servants to do everything for me. I think I like being a regular person, Sam said. Being a prince isn't fun. So, they both returned to their normal positions and enjoyed their lives more than before. Absorb. To absorb a liquid means to take it inside.
He used a sponge to absorb the water on the floor.
Boss. A boss is a person in charge of other people at work.
My boss is a nice person.
Committee. A committee is a group of people who meet together to make decisions.
The school's committee agreed on a new dress code for students.
Contract. A contract is a written agreement between two people.
The woman signed a contract when she bought the house.
Crew. A crew is a group of workers.
My father has a crew. They help him build houses.
Devote. To devote time to something means to spend a lot of time doing it.
She devotes 2 hours a day to playing the piano.
Dig. To dig is to make a hole in the ground.
My dog digs in the yard so he can hide his bones.
Dine. To dine means to eat dinner.
The young couple dined at their home.
Donate. To donate is to give something to a charity or organization.
We donate money to Christmas charities every year.
Double. If something is double, it is twice as much, or twice as many.
I paid almost double the amount for that shirt.
Elevate. To elevate something is to put it at a higher level.
The man elevated the picture so he could see it better.
Flavor. A flavor is the taste of food or drinks.
The flavor of the ice cream was very good.
Foundation. A foundation is a group that provides money for research.
The foundation raised money to give scholarships to students.
Generation. A generation is a group of people who live at the same time.
My grandparents are from a different generation than me.
Handle. A handle is the part of an object people hold while using it.
The pot is very hot, so pick it up by the handle.
Layer. A layer covers over something or is between two things.
There was a layer of snow on the tops of the houses this morning.
Mud. Mud is soft, wet dirt.
My brother played rugby in the mud. Now he's dirty.
Smooth. If something is smooth, it has no bumps.
The baby's skin felt very smooth.
Soil. Soil is the top layer of land on the earth.
The boy planted flowers in the soil and watered them every day.
Unique. If people or things are unique, they are not like the others.
Her dog is unique. I've never seen one quite like it. The lucky knife. I've devoted my life to studying past generations. Last year, I had a unique chance to work with my uncle. Our job was to find old treasures for a school's history foundation. He also hired a crew of students. They signed a contract to work with him. He was the boss. The place was strange, though. I dined on many things that I had never tasted before. They had an unusual flavor. We had been there about a month and hadn't found anything. One day, I began to dig in the soil. The ground's layers got wetter. Soon, I was digging in the mud. My shovel began to get very heavy. It felt like it had doubled in weight because the ground had absorbed a lot of water. Finally, I saw something in the mud. It was an old knife. The handle felt smooth in my hand. I elevated it so I could see it better. There was writing on it. It says it will bring good luck, my uncle said with a smile. Why don't you keep it? I put it in my tent. The next day, we found many more things. There were pots, jewelry, and weapons. My uncle donated all of the things to a special committee. Many newspapers wrote stories about it. It seemed the knife really did bring good luck.
Ability. Ability is the quality of a person being able to do something well.
His swimming abilities let him cross the entire lake.
Agriculture. Agriculture is the growing of food and animals.
The farmers studied agriculture in college.
Cartoon. A cartoon is a funny drawing.
Sometimes people draw cartoons for the newspaper.
Ceiling. The ceiling is the top of a room.
He painted the ceiling with a special roller.
Convince. To convince someone means to make them sure of something.
She convinced me to buy the house.
Curious. When you are curious about something, you want to know more about it.
I opened up the clock because I was curious about how it worked.
Delay. To delay means to wait to do something.
I was delayed at the airport for over 2 hours.
Diary. A diary is a book in which people write their personal experiences.
I do not let anybody read my diary.
Element. An element of something is a particular part of it.
Tackling an opponent is Johnny's favorite element of American football.
Faith. When people have faith in something, they believe in it and trust it.
The sick girl had faith in doctors. She knew they would make her better.
Grain. Grain is food crops such as wheat, corn, rice, or oats.
The farmer planted 2 fields of grain this year.
Greet. To greet someone means to meet and welcome them.
When my friend came over, I greeted him at the door.
Investigate. To investigate means to search for something or learn about it.
The detective went to investigate the crime.
Joy. Joy is a feeling you get when you are really happy.
I love baseball. I feel joy when I play.
Label. A label is a tag that tells about something.
The label on the back of your shirt will tell you what size it is.
Monk. A monk is a religious person who lives a simple life.
The monks knew a lot about religion.
Odd. When something is odd, it is unusual.
Her cat is odd. It walks on 2 feet.
Pause. To pause means to stop doing something for a while.
Since she was so hungry, she paused to make a snack.
Priest. A priest is a person trained to perform religious duties.
The priest taught us about God.
Profession. A profession is a person's job.
He loved sailing, so he chose to work on ships as a profession.
The priest. A young priest was always sad. He was good at his profession, but he still had no joy. He visited a group of wise monks. When he got to the monk's house, they greeted him and let him in. The monks asked the priest, "What is the matter?" The priest said, "I should be happy, but I am not. I don't know what to do." The wise monks paused for a minute. Then one said, "We are convinced of your faith. You are a very good priest. But to find joy, you have to do more. Above all, investigate the elements of your life that you love." The priest thought that this answer was odd, but he was curious. The next day, the priest thought about his abilities. He got a few ideas, and he did not want to delay any longer. He liked to draw, so he made some cartoons. He also liked to write, so he started a diary. He was interested in agriculture, so he planted some grains. He made jam from berries. He made his own labels to put on the jars of jam. He painted his ceiling. The priest learned something. It is not too hard to be happy after all. All one has to do is find things they like doing and do them. Astronaut. An astronaut is a person that goes into outer space.
The astronaut was walking on the moon.
Awake. When you are awake, you are not asleep.
Sometimes I lay awake in bed because I am not tired.
Courage. When you have courage, You are not afraid.
The man had the courage to touch the lion.
Float. To float is to move on top of water without sinking.
The boy's toy boat floated in the pool.
Grant. To grant something is to allow someone to have it.
The teacher granted us a break after studying hard all day.
Gravity. Gravity is the force that makes things fall to earth.
There is no gravity in space.
Jewel. A jewel is a beautiful stone that is worth a lot of money.
A diamond is one of the most expensive jewels in the world.
Miner. A miner is a person who works in a mine.
The miner was looking for gold.
Mineral. A mineral is a type of substance found in the earth.
Rocks are made up of different kinds of minerals.
Participate. To participate is to take part in something.
The students participated in the school play.
Permission. Permission means the act of allowing the doing of something.
I have permission to drive my mom's car.
Pour. To pour a liquid means to make it come out of a container.
I poured some milk into my sister's cup.
Presence. Someone or something's presence is the fact they are there.
The presence of dark clouds meant it would rain.
Raw. If a material is raw, it is natural and has not been processed.
The company dumped raw sewage into the river.
Satellite. A satellite is something that is sent into space to get information.
The satellite was traveling around the Earth.
Scale. The scale of something is its size, especially when it is very large.
I was surprised by the scale of the buildings in the downtown area.
Skip. To skip something is to not do it.
He skipped work to get more sleep.
Stretch. To stretch is to make your arms or legs reach out.
She stretched her body before exercising.
Telescope. A telescope is a tool people use to look at the stars.
With a telescope, you can see the moon and stars easily.
Underground. When something is underground, it is below the surface of the earth.
Subway trains travel underground. From the earth to the stars. Jeremy was from a family of miners. Like them, he worked underground during the day. His job was to gather raw minerals and jewels. Each night after work, he lay awake in an open field. With his telescope, he looked at the stars. He was amazed by the scale of space. He wished someday he might travel there. One day there was an accident in the mine. Water poured into the mine. Everything was dark. Jeremy stretched out and grabbed a piece of wood. It kept him from sinking. Jeremy felt a presence nearby. "I am an angel," said a voice. "What?" Jeremy exclaimed. "You must never come underground again. Have the courage to make your wishes come true." For a long time he floated in silence. Then he heard other voices. The other miners were coming to rescue him. The next day, Jeremy skipped work. He decided to become an astronaut. For the next 2 years, he studied hard. One day, he was given permission to participate in a mission to space. His wish had been granted. His spaceship left the ground. It went higher until there was no more gravity. He saw satellites floating next to the ship. Then Jeremy saw a beautiful angel outside his spaceship. It smiled at Jeremy. For some minutes, Jeremy could not speak. Finally, he said, "Thank you."
Alarm. An alarm is something that warns people of danger.
When the students heard the fire alarm, they left the building.
Apart. When people or things are apart, they are not close together.
The couple decided to live apart from each other.
Arrest. To arrest someone means to catch them for doing something bad.
The man was arrested for breaking the law.
Award. An award is a prize someone gets for doing something well.
He got an award for having the best grades in class.
Breed. A breed is a group of animals within a species.
I like small dog breeds, such as terriers.
Bucket. A bucket is a round container to put things in.
I filled the bucket with water.
Contest. A contest is a game or a race.
The girls had a contest to see who could jump higher.
Convict. To convict someone means to prove that they did a bad thing.
He was convicted of the crime and sent to jail.
Garage. A garage is the part of a house where people put their cars.
My car does not get dirty because I keep it in the garage.
Journalist. A journalist is a person who writes news stories.
The journalist took notes for a story he was writing.
Pup. A pup is a young dog.
All the girl wanted for her birthday was a pup.
Qualify. To qualify is to get, or to be declared, adequate or good enough.
He qualified to go to the final match by beating the opponent.
Repair. To repair something is to fix it.
I repaired the flat tire on my car.
Resume. To resume something means to start it again after taking a break.
I put the newspaper down to eat breakfast. Then I resumed reading.
Rob. To rob a person or place is to take their property by using force.
A thief has robbed me of my passport.
Slip. To slip means to slide and fall down.
The man slipped on the wet floor.
Somewhat. Somewhat means to some degree, but not to a large degree.
James was somewhat upset when he had to move some boxes.
Stable. When something is stable, it will not fall over.
The chair is stable. Its legs are strong.
Tissue. A tissue is a soft piece of paper people use to wipe their noses.
There was a box of tissue on the table.
Yard. A yard is the ground just outside of a person's house.
The girls jumped rope in the yard.
The Farm Festival. Once there was a farm. Many animals lived there. One day, they had a contest in the yard. They were going to race from the barn to the farmer's garage. The barn and the garage were far apart. It would be a long race. The winner qualified to win a bag full of apples as an award. But the race did not start well. The cart with all the apples was not stable, and the animals had to repair it. Then the pup knocked over the apples. The pig yelled, "We are going to slip. We must clean up this mess." The pup felt bad, and she began to cry. The dog gave her a tissue to wipe her tears. Then the race resumed. But the duck tried to rob them and take all the apples. The cat said, "I will have you arrested." The duck said, "You can't convict me. You can't prove I took it." The race stopped yet again. The animals tried to race one more time. Then they heard an alarm coming from the barn. There was a fire. They got buckets of water to put out the fire. A journalist came to write a story about the festival and the race. The horse told her, "I am a special breed of horse. I would have won the race easily." The pig said, "It was somewhat hard to have the race, but we had fun. That is what's important." Accomplish. To accomplish something means to finish it.
He accomplished his goal of running 10 miles.
Approve. To approve of something means you like it or are happy about it.
Her coworkers approved her new plan.
Approximate. Approximate means to be close to an exact amount, number, or time.
My approximate height is 2 meters.
Barrier. A barrier is something that is in your way.
The Great Wall was a barrier between China and its enemies.
Detect. To detect something means to notice or find something.
The boy ran to the kitchen when he detected the smell of cookies.
Duty. A duty is something that a person has to do.
It is parents' duty to take care of their children.
Elementary. When something is elementary, it is the first or most simple thing.
Children go to elementary school before high school.
Failure. A failure happens when you do not do something right.
My cooking ended in failure because I burned the food.
Gradual. When something is gradual, it happens slowly.
Children learn to read at a gradual pace. They do not learn right away.
Immigrant. An immigrant is a person who moves to a different country.
My parents were immigrants. They came from Poland.
Insert. To insert something means to put it in something else.
The mailman inserted the letter into the mailbox.
Instant. An instant is a very short amount of time.
A microwave oven cooks food in an instant.
Poverty. Poverty is the state of being poor.
Poverty is a problem in many countries around the world.
Pretend. To pretend means to make believe something is real.
The boy liked to pretend he was a king.
Rank. A person's rank is their place in an order of people.
The man got to the rank of captain in the Navy.
Recognition. Recognition is getting praise from other people.
The hero got recognition for his brave deed.
Refrigerate. To refrigerate something means to make it cold.
Grocery stores refrigerate fruit to make it last long.
Rent. Rent is the money people pay to someone to live in a certain place.
To live in this house, I have to pay rent at the start of each month.
Retire. To retire is to leave a job, usually because of old age.
My father is 65 years old. He is about to retire from work.
Statistic. A statistic is a number that tells a fact about something.
The statistic showed that we did just as well this year as last year.
Albert Einstein. My name is Albert Einstein. Many people know about the great things I've accomplished. But I had many barriers before I became famous. I was born in Germany. When I was in elementary school, I already knew about math and statistics. When I was a boy, I pretended to be a great scientist. I loved school, but my life at home was hard. My father lost his job, so my family lived in poverty. We could not pay the rent in Germany. We became immigrants and went to Italy. I finished high school and went to college in Switzerland. After college, I began writing about science. I did not reach success in an instant, though. At first, other scientists did not approve of my work. They thought I was a failure. Rising to the rank of an admired scientist was a gradual process. Soon, people started to notice that I was right. At last, I began to get some recognition. I showed how to find the approximate size of very big things, like stars. I also detected and explained the movement of very small things, like atoms. And for fun, I made a machine that could refrigerate food by inserting heat. I never retired. It was my duty to keep working. I overcame many hard times, and I will be remembered for my important works.